Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. This is our Nature's Harvest thank you card and I'm going to show you exactly how to make it. It's a really simple card with just a backing layer and some of the DSP and then a circle for your image. Now, my DSP is this one. It is the Harvest Meadow set and I've used the one that's the Misty Moonlight. Let's just see if I've got another piece in here. There it was. So it's this piece that I've used. It's got the orange on the back. Okay. So I have already cut all my pieces, so I've got everything ready for us. And I've started off with the thick basic white. It's cut at 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. And I'm just going to fold it in half. And I'm going to use my bone folder. Excuse my reach. I'm going to use my bone folder just to fold it down. If you don't have bone folder, a stamping block works too. So just go down that crease just to keep it closed. Okay, let's pop that back. And then I have 3 pieces of the Misty Moonlight card and they are cut at, let me just see, 1 1/2 by 3 3/4. And I have 3 small pieces of the designer series paper and they're cut just 1/4 inch smaller. So 1 1/4 by 3 1/2. And we're just going to attach those to the card here. You can use a liquid glue, you can use stamping seal, whatever glue you feel comfortable with. If you're cutting your paper and using a different paper and it has a pattern running across, that also looks quite pretty. So you can use a pattern paper that maybe has, like a floral image or a woodland image that goes across. Something like our trees, that would be pretty too. So I'm just leaving a little border all the way around. Okay. And it is a really easy template to use. It's a good one if you want to use up just little pieces of designer series paper. And you can change your image each time. So whatever you've got would work. Stick that right down. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to arrange these just on the card base. If you did use that paper that had a pattern, just make sure you've got it orientated properly. And I tend to put all my pieces on before I start to glue, and that way I can just move things around and know that they're going to be evenly spaced. I'm going to start with this one, and again I'm just going to use my adhesive and attach it. I'm actually going to turn it round because I find it easier to work if it's in portrait. So I'm just going to add that there. I've got the same spacing left and right and at the bottom. Okay. And then I'm going to do the furthest one away. And I think if you have like the top and the bottom or the left and the right side already sorted, then it's easy just to pop the one in the middle. Again, I'm looking for that same gap all the way around. I'm not worrying about this gap at the moment, just the top and the sides or the bottom and the sides. And then I'm just going to add this one too. Oh. There we go. And then this one is really easy to position just between the other 2 pieces. Okay. So there's our card base all sorted. So next I'm going to make the image and the little piece of stamping. And I've used my layer in circles, and this is the biggest one, and I've used the next biggest. And I've I've already got my image on my acrylic block. I'm using this larger one here. And I'm going to have a little piece of scratch paper. And I've already cut the thinner basic white card. I've got that here, and I'm using Memento. And I know that not all of these leaves are going to show on, on the image that we see. So I'm not inking right down at the bottom. But because it's a big image, I'm using the ink and pressing on here rather than using the stamp and pressing it on the pad, just so I can see where my ink is. And then I can make sure that each of the little ridges has some ink on. I can just see that that little piece is missing. There we go. And then I'm just going to position my stamp however high up on the card that I want. And hold it for a couple of seconds. There, okay. Now I'm going to get my little chamois and clean that stamp while it's here, because I know I don't need it again. I can put that on one side, and then I'm going to colour in my image. I'm using my Stampin' Blends, and I've only got two colours. I've got the light and dark Old Olive, I think, yeah, and the light and dark Daffodil Delight. I probably won't use both colours of the green, but the yellow I might. I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do this centre of the flower in the darker yellow. Okay, so that's that bit done. And then I'm going to do the petals in the lighter colour. You can choose whatever colours you have. You could use watercolour pencils too. You could use Stampin' Right markers, whatever you have. And I'm just using the smaller bullet end just to colour in, because some of these are a little bit fine. So, but if you're using blends and you do go over the edge, just use the colour lifter and it will take that little bit of colour off. If you have a large area of colour, it won't take that off. It tends to wet the paper too much, but little tiny bits you can do. Or you could even use a little white gel pen and go over, and then you can't see it. Okay, now I'm not doing this little piece because I think this is like the greenery from underneath the flower, so I'm going to do that in the green. And I'm just going to use the light one, I think. Let's see how this is. See if it's dark enough. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's do this little leaf that goes along. It really doesn't take much time to colour in. There we go. I'm finished with those. We can put those to one side, and I can move my scratch paper. So this is going to go on our card here, and I have this tiny little sentiment, which is the thank you sentiment, and it's from the same stamp set. I've already got that one mounted as well, and I'm using the little tiny piece of the thinner basic white, and it's actually a 1/2 inch by 4. I don't really need all of that. I am going to put my scratch paper back actually, just so I can line this up. Okay, and again I'm using the Memento black. And I know on mine that I haven't quite got the little transfer sticker on straight, so I'm measuring by looking at this part of the stamp. So if you're watching and think, oh, you know, that's not straight from the writing, I didn't get it on straight. So it might still not be straight, but that's okay. We can always turn it over and stamp again. But actually, that's not too bad. And let's give that a quick wash. And then what I did for the card was I penanted the end, and you can use a pair of scissors and you can cut down the centre and then corner to corner, or I've got the little pick a banner punch. So, and I'm going to use this one here, but I'm going to trim it down just a little bit because I know this is just a tiny bit too long. So I'm going to find my scissors. Here they are. I'm just going to take a little bit off. Okay, and then you can see on the punch there are 3 ridges, and that just means you can put different sizes of paper in. And mine is going to go right down the middle like this, and I turn mine over because can you see sometimes when you put it in it's not quite in the middle. So I'm going to hold sort of the underneath of the banner, move it so that it looks to me like it's right in the middle, and then I'm going to close. Okay. And I'm not going to cut this end until we've put this on. Now in this card you can see I've got it landscape, but if you wanted to do it portrait you could easily just turn it round and have your banner across the bottom as well. And I'm going to do it landscape again. I'm going to use my dimensionals. I'm going to pop 4 on. Okay, I'm just going to move that one over a little bit. There we go. And take those backings off. And I'm going to position it between the first and second, and then this one is going to go here, and depending on where your dimensionals are you may need to cut this end off a bit, and just keep popping it in until you're happy with it. I'm actually going to have this flat, but you could put it on dimensionals as well if you wanted. I'm going to trim it down just a tiny bit, and I'm going to put it on with my liquid glue. I'm sorry, I'm reaching over. Let's take that little bobbly end off. There we go. And I want it to go onto the third piece of the designer series paper as well, just to carry the theme across. And then last of all, I'm going to use just a little bit of the Simply Elegant trim, and I'm using the gold. And I'm just going to tie a little bow. I'm going to use my bow tire just because it's quick. Put it under here. I don't want too big a bow, and I don't want the tails to be too long. So I find that if you use something like a bow tire or a fork, like a dinner fork, you don't waste too much. You can sort of gauge where the bow is going to be and how long a tail you want. Okay, and then I'm just going to add this to here, and I'm going to use my glue dots. I need just one little glue dot on the back of the knot on the bow. There we are. And then I'm going to put it on this flower just like I did on the sample. And there we are. So that's our quick and easy little Nature's Harvest thank you card. So thanks for watching. I'll see you all again really soon. Take care.